Every morning, the same routine began. The stainless steel shone under the harsh, fluorescent lights. The SEAL mess hall was waking up. It always sounded like a storm of silverware. It smelled like weak coffee and institutional toast. Then there was the man. They just called him Pops. He was quiet. He was completely invisible. He wanted it that way. He pushed a mop bucket across the slick floor. The wheels squeaked a predictable rhythm. His gray hair was thin. It was always hidden beneath a faded baseball cap. His back had a slight, permanent slump. He looked like every other aging maintenance worker in the world. He was trying to make ends meet. No one looked twice. No one knew his real name. No one knew his past. Pops moved slowly. He was careful. He was deliberate. He was a ghost in plain sight. He had been perfecting this invisibility for years. This life was a choice, a painful, silent choice. He was seeking peace. He was seeking quiet. He wanted to be forgotten entirely. That was his mission now. But Pops carried a secret. It was inked permanently on his skin. It was high on his neck. It was hidden carefully by the collar of his uniform. It was a faded tattoo. It was a single, three-pronged mark. It was an unmistakable symbol. It was the trident. This mark was everything. It was proof of a terrible, forgotten past. It meant he had finished the training. It meant he had served with the unit. But for those who knew the legend, the faded ink meant something else. It meant he was supposed to be dead. He was listed officially as Kaya. This quiet cleaner was a ghost that had walked away from his own grave. He was Lieutenant Daniel Harlo. The chaos started simply. A young, cocky SEAL stumbled. His breakfast tray went flying. Plates spun toward the floor. Cups tipped over. The sound of destruction was seconds away. The whole room paused. They waited for the crash. They waited for the shatter. But the crash never came. Pops reacted. He moved faster than any man in the room. He moved faster than the young, athletic SEALs. It was a blur of motion. It was one fluid, effortless movement. Pops darted forward. His hand shot out. It wasn't the slow, clumsy motion of an old man. It was precise. It was practiced. It was terrifying. He caught the falling plate. His grip was absolutely firm. His stance was instantly steady. It was the muscle memory of a professional. It was the ingrained reaction of a combat veteran. It was a reflex forged in places far more dangerous than this mess hall. He simply placed the plate back down. The moment passed. He returned to his mopping. But the room was different now. Captain Reeves saw it all. He was the commander of the entire facility. Reeves had seen combat in 3 separate countries. He noticed things others missed. He had been mid-conversation. He stopped talking completely. His gaze locked onto Pops. He followed every single move of the old man. The speed was wrong. The precision was wrong. The casualness was very wrong. Reeves felt a prickle of suspicion crawl up his neck. He watched Pops bend down to wring the mop. The movement caused his collar to shift. The fabric slid slightly away from his neck. The commander held his breath. He saw it. It was the faded, dark trident. It was curling right along the veteran's neck. It was unmistakable. It was old, but it was clear. Reeves stepped closer. His voice was just a low whisper. It cut through the gentle clatter of the busy mess hall. "Where did you get that tattoo?" The question was a challenge. It was a demand. The entire mess hall fell completely silent. Forks stopped halfway to mouths. Everyone was listening. The very air seemed to hold its breath. Pops stopped mopping. He didn't answer immediately. He slowly stood up straight. He looked up at the powerful commander. His eyes were calm. They were steady. They were a pale, distant blue. They were the color of the horizon. They were the color of too many graves. "Earned it a long time ago," he said simply. His voice was soft. It was quiet. It was steady. It held no fear. The commander pressed him hard. "That's not a tattoo you just earn, old man. That's a calling. "That's SEAL Team 6. A murmur rippled through the young men. They stared. Some were in open disbelief. Others were in quiet awe. The old man's hands trembled slightly now. It wasn't from fear. It was the deep tremor of memories. They were clawing their way back to the surface of his quiet life. He hadn't wanted this. He hated the attention. He dreaded the questions that would follow. He had promised himself to stay invisible forever, especially after what happened in Kandahar. After the mission no one talked about. He had simply walked away. He vanished into the quiet world. Reeves ordered everyone to leave. The mess hall slowly cleared out. Only a few young SEALs stayed. They pretended to clean tables. They were unable to tear themselves away from the unfolding drama. "Your file was marked Kaya," Reeves repeated, almost to himself. He was looking at a ghost. "They told us you never made it out alive." The old man sighed a very deep sigh. "Maybe I didn't make it out," he replied. The commander finally understood the haunted look. He saw the silence. He understood the way Pops never looked toward the flag when the anthem played. He wasn't running from the world. He was running from what the world had forced him to become. The tension was thick and heavy. For a long moment, no one spoke a word. Then the door burst open. It was violent. A young SEAL stumbled inside. His face was panicked. "Sir, the boiler room is flooding. It's bad. We can't find the main valve. The pressure is critical." Pure chaos erupted instantly. The commander started to turn, but Pops was already moving. He moved faster than anyone else. His slow limp was completely forgotten. He flew down the long corridor. He was moving toward the danger. His voice was suddenly sharp. It was clear. It was absolutely commanding. "Cut the main valve first. You hear me? Do not touch that secondary line. It's gas-fed." The young men followed him instantly. They were shocked into obedience. He knew the complex layout better than they did. He was barking orders. His calm voice sliced through the terrible noise of the chaos. He organized them perfectly. He turned them into a trained unit. He moved through the danger like he owned it. Within minutes, the crisis was averted. The water stopped. The gas line was secure. The commander stood watching the old man. Pops was soaked completely. His hands were steady. His eyes were clear. They were focused. The commander spoke quietly. You led that like a field op, Lieutenant." Pops gave a faint, slow smile. "Some habits simply don't die easy, Captain." Word spread across the entire base. It spread like wildfire. By dinner, everyone knew the incredible truth. The quiet janitor was once Lieutenant Daniel Harlo. He was a highly decorated SEAL. He had vanished after a mission went terribly wrong. The men he saved in that flooded boiler room couldn't stop talking about his quiet leadership. Pops didn't want medals. He didn't want any recognition. He just wanted peace to return. The commander found him later that evening. Pops was sitting outside in the quiet air. He was holding a cup of black coffee. He was staring at the distant, darkening horizon. "You know, Daniel," Reeves said softly. He used his real name. "We could really use someone like you. We need you to train the new guys. They need your kind of quiet strength." Pops looked up slowly. The faintest smile curled his lips upward. "I'm not the man I used to be, Captain." Reeves simply nodded his head. "Maybe not, Daniel, but you're the man they absolutely need now." That night, for the first time in many years, Pops walked back into the mess hall. He was not wearing the faded uniform. He was not carrying a mop bucket. He walked in as a mentor. He walked in as a leader. The young SEALs all stood up instantly. They stood and they saluted him. They saluted him not for his storied past. They saluted the quiet strength that had been right in front of them all along. Courage does not always roar with thunder. Sometimes courage just quietly mops the floor. It waits patiently to be seen again. When the flickering mess hall lamps hit his tattoo, it changed. It didn't look like a mark of a haunted past anymore. It looked like forgiveness. True strength never fades away completely. It just waits for the perfect moment. It waits for the right time to rise again. Sometimes the heroes who choose to stay silent are the ones who have already said enough with their actions. If this story of quiet heroes resonated deep within you, if you felt the power of this second chance, show us. What is the greatest, most unexpected heroic act you've ever witnessed? Tell us your story in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more powerful true stories that prove courage is often hidden in plain sight.